All right, so I want to talk about a couple of these controversial ideas you put out, okay?
All right.
You have a controversial idea, and I usually don't read from these, but...
I got it, and we're talking about this new book. So,
yeah. Controversial idea of managing yourself. So here's what I wrote. Past 25, but more like past 50 years, the cultural ethos is you do you. And the rest of culture, workforce, love, relationships, houses of faith, all these ideals are supposed to bend around whatever path you feel like going on. The challenge is, as we all have seen around us in the last couple of years, that isn't traffic in reality. And so one of the meta ideas I've taken from your work is this idea of going to war with ourselves is not helpful. And neither is living hedonically, living just how you feel, right? I don't feel like working out. Well, then don't. I don't feel like this relationship anymore. Well, then end it, right? So how do you explain this idea of managing yourself to a culture that's been taught you do whatever you want and the world should bend to you?
The world's lying to you. And the world's lying to you because we've gotten into we're listening to the big lie that Mother Nature tells us. Now, here's the mistake that people make. I have natural urges and I want to be happy. So if I follow my natural urges, I'll be happy. That's wrong. That's what every major philosophy and religious tradition has always taught, that you actually have to stand up to your natural tendencies. Mother Nature has only two goals for John Delony and Arthur Brooks and everybody watching us. Pass on your genes and survive another day. That's all Mother Nature wants. Right. Happiness, well-being, love, these are divine goals. And they require that you understand your natural proclivities and not fall prey to them. Look, if we act like animals, we'll live like animals. That's the bottom line. Right. You can live like your dog. Right. You can live like a golden retriever. Somebody puts something tasty in front of you, you just eat it.
Okay, what about the other side of that, though, which is, I just heard a great debate on the other side of this, which is, if we have these natural proclivities, but we can just dream them away. And you can't do that either, right?
No, you have to recognize the fact that these things exist and they exist for a reason. Right. That you're hungry because you need nutrition and that will help keep you alive. That you're attracted to your wife because in evolutionary times you need to have an attraction to your wife. You need to have a sexual urge such that you'll propagate the genes. I got that. The whole point is understanding when it's healthy and when it doesn't serve you and when it doesn't serve society and when it doesn't serve not the physical truth, the metaphysical truth. Right. Because we are, this is the most amazing thing. We're the only creature. Even if you're not religious, you recognize that we have a prefrontal cortex, the part of our brain, the C-suite of our brain right behind our forehead. Right. That's 30% of your brain by weight. That's the magic of the human brain that makes you different than every other creature, and it gives you knowledge. That's the differentiating factor, right? That gives you divine knowledge. And here's divine knowledge. Even if you don't believe in God, this is metaphysical knowledge. You're going to die. You're alive and you're going to die.
You'll cease to exist. Here.
That's the funny thing about it, because you know you're going to die, but you can't conceive of the cessation of existence. That's this weird thing, and that's why people freak out all the time. That's why a lot of scientists believe we invented religion, so that we could solve that conundrum. Yeah, I'm going to die, but I'm not going to cease existing because I'm going to go to heaven, right? I happen to believe that's truth. Yeah. But the whole thing about that is that we have an antenna to the metaphysical. That's what our brain is actually attuned to do, and that being the case means that we can also understand our urges and understand when they don't serve us and know that we want more happiness and love by standing up to our urges. And that's self-management. And that's an incredible source of empowerment for human beings.
And that, to me, if there's been one word, is I've tried to step back now that I'm not teaching anymore and I'm in this new ecosystem. I've tried to come up with the word of a cultural moment. And the only word I can come up with is disempowerment.
Yeah, totally.
It's this idea that either you can't just go over in the corner and pat you on the head, we'll take care of you, because whatever you've done, whatever's happened to you, whatever variables we want to stick on you, you're not going to be able to, we'll take care of it for you.
Right.
Or the other side is like, there is no brakes to freedom. Just run as fast as you can. And if there's a wall in front of you, we're going to blame the wall. Right. Just keep going. And it's madness on both sides. But at the end of the day, it's disempowering.
Yeah, that's the reason, by the way. There's a rebellion forming, why so many young guys are reading the Stoics.
Yeah.
That's why Ryan Holiday's stuff is so popular right now. I mean, Ryan Holiday's like a cult figure.
Yeah.
And what is he doing? He's talking about Marcus Aurelius. He's like, you got this new crazy thing. It's called Seneca. Seneca the Elder. I mean, it's Epictetus.
Yeah.
And all this, he's bringing back these Greeks and Romans from, 2,000, 2,500 years ago. And people are eating it up. Why? Because they know it's a lie. They know the modern currency is totally counterfeit. They know that it's not in their interest and they're being sold out. Why? By whom? By people that want to productize them.
That's
when
it.
somebody's trying to make you into a libertine because they want you not to have control of your appetites. And when you don't have control of your appetites, you're going to spend 14 hours frittering it away on social media. You're not going to have the courage to ask a girl out on a date. You're going to just do this on an app.
Are you going to spend money you don't have?
You're not going to make progress. You're going to pretend that gaming is real progress as opposed to real progress in life.
Right.
Now, don't kill me. I know gaming is fun within limits, but 10% of gamers, by the way, have a chronic set of behaviors that is inhibiting their ability to function, which is no joke.
Well, take that away. Put like, hey, Arthur, there's a game on. I'll give you $5 if they win. Has turned into
exactly. So gambling,
catastrophic.
Gambling is taking the place of playing sports.
That's right.
And so what we find is that we have a society where we are being productized vis-a-vis our neurochemistry. And what it's doing is it's turning us into beings that cannot stand up to our own urges. That's why people think that, by the way, interesting. For the first time since we've been keeping data on this, young men are now more likely to be religious than young women. So that being the case, then I think that what you and I have an opportunity to serve as our apostolate, you evangelical guys like to say mission. Catholics say apostolate because it's a harder word, it's like
screw up everything, make everything more complex.
Our apostolate is to get the spirit of rebellion against that with more young women today because they need to stop being productized. They need to stand up to that. And their brains are being productized by the tech world. And the people who say that they're victims, they're not victims. Are you kidding? They're the domesticating, they're the civilizing force in our society.
Right. They're the heartbeat of the whole
Who would you and I be?
Yeah.
Without our wives.
Oh, nothing.
We'd be. Are you kidding? We'd be
nothing.
Like out in a ditch drinking together right now or something.
Yeah. Nothing.
But that's the point. That's the point. Women need to understand the empowerment that they deserve to feel, and they deserve to have relationships where they're not used, where they're adored, where a guy would fight a tiger for them.
Elevated.
That's what they deserve. Is the whole point, and they're not getting it because they've been monetized by predators. As men have.
Yeah, and that's the other thing that I've come into the last 24 months is this sense of no one's writing blogs about it, and it's uncouth to say. I don't know a father, absent maybe you, that thinks they're doing a great job. I don't know a husband that thinks I'm getting this thing down.
None of us. I mean, look, you're going day to day, and it's
you know what I mean?
It's mano a mano, and so none of us, even though that objectively has kids who are doing well, we're still like, I screwed it up again.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's actually probably pretty healthy. If you think you're a great father, I'm suspicious.
Well, that's I spoke at a large church recently for Father's Day, and the pastor right before I went up said, "Hey, every Mother's Day, pastors across the country get up and go, mothers, y'all are crushing it. Y'all are overburdened." And then every Father's Day, it's like, dads, you suck. Y'all need to step it up. And he's like, please don't do that.
I know.
And, but it was just a sense of, I don't know that anybody looks around objectively and says, we're doing a good job.
Yeah.
I think that my grandparents thought they were doing with the best they had with what they had.
Yeah.
And that tells me there has been a commoditization of individual people and groups of people.
Yeah.
That if I can make you feel bad, then I can sell you something.
Yeah. I don't think my dad ever asked himself if he was being a good dad. No. And I think that's a good thing. I think that he just did what needed to be done. He loved me, and he was a great example.
Right.
He did. Fathers, being a good father, a lot of it is showing up and being a good man. It's really interesting. I mean, you know the greatest service you can give your sons as a dad. And you'll say, I've heard you say this, so you know this, but I'm making
love their mom really well.
Love their mom really well.
Yeah,
it's just you want to know the number one job being a dad. Love their mom.
Be the best spouse possible. Yeah.
It's amazing. And so the result is that it's kind of easy to discount that, but the truth of the matter, and by the way, number two is have your kids see you on your knees in prayer. see it. Like my dad's really strong. He would never be on his knees in front of a man.
No, he submits.
But there's something bigger than my dad.
That's right.
Yeah,
that's
and
right.
said that he will submit to something greater. He will love abundantly one person faithfully every day, right? And when you talk trash about mom, he's like, don't talk about mom that way.
That's right. That's right. That's my
Right?
wife, dude. Yeah, yeah.
This is like team parents
That's right.
against team Rugrats.
That's right.
And he submits to the master. Those are the two greatest gifts. And so, okay, yeah, so maybe in church they're not valorizing that in the same way because you don't see the service in the same way. But guys, that's the service.
Yeah.
That's it. Those are your two core competencies. And if you do that, it's okay if you die.
The other day, my son and I were running. He's a cross-country stud, and I'm not. I'm an old man now, and so I'm trying to keep up. And
You're old man. You're like,
I'm trying, dude. I'm trying.
Hair like you'd be president of the United
I
States.
know, it's good. It's a toupee. So we were running real hard, and we were at the point where he's kind of talking and with his head turned, and I'm in dad mode. Like, I know this is going to cost me 3 or 4 days of my life after this, but I'm going to get this time.
Yeah.
And out of nowhere, this woodchucky beaver squirrel thing shoots out of the road.
Varmint.
Yeah. And I let one fly. A swear word fly.
Is an F-bomb?
No.
All right.
It
Could've been worse.
wasn't the mother lode. That's right. I got back, and so this is the disclosure. I have a terrible mouth, but it's conversational. When I get angry, I never swear. I get real calm. 99% of the time when I get scared, I never do. This thing just jumped out.
Yeah.
We got back, and my son, we're all sweaty and hot and exhausted, and he had his hands on his knees, and he stood up, and he said, Dad, I never heard you say that word before. I've never heard you say a bad word. And I was like, well,
oops.
Here you go, man.
My streak is
I made it 15 years. And he laughed, I laughed. And anyway, you have an excellent article in here about mindful cursing.
Yeah.
And when I was a kid, my diet of what I would call mind food consisted of mostly punk bands and Pantera and scary movies. And I remember one time my dad heard me swearing, and he said, kind of read me the riot act. And I said, I can't help it, Dad. And he said, I've never heard you swear in front of your grandmother. I've never heard you swear at church. That's not true. You can. If you choose to, you can. I remember exhaling like a 14-year-old, and I was like, actually, that's fair.
Yeah.
All right. So you write this. Swearing is negatively correlated with conscientiousness and agreeableness. People don't want to be around it. Researchers have found that doctors who curse in front of patients are seen as less trustworthy and less experts than those who don't. But profanity was associated with less lying and deception. So people hear somebody swear, and we immediately assume that's probably trustworthy. I think like Joe Rogan, right? Like I believe that guy. Our comedians, like, I believe them because they're swearing. Research shows that swearing alleviates discomfort of social stress.
Yeah.
As a guy who works really hard to not swear all the time. It's conversational. I told you, my wife can tell what generation friend I'm speaking to.
Right.
It's like calling a friend from Mexico, and you just start speaking Spanish. My wife's like, oh, I know who those friends are. Just because it comes out without thinking. Talk me through mindful swearing, and I guess as a guy of a person of faith and a person of intellect.
Yeah, it's.
I don't want to sound like a buffoon either.
If you have a policy, if you're going to have a policy against cursing.
Okay.
And the reason for that is that it never really helps very much, and it can actually hurt a lot. And people are funny because they're making a decision to swear usually a couple of seconds before. Am I going to say that cuss word? Am I going to say that cuss word? Am I going to say that cuss word?
I wish I was
and then it comes out.
Yeah.
But it's also very interesting that neurophysiologically, it's a phenomenon that cursing that's involuntary. So it's voluntary cursing. We decide to curse, and you're going to put it for a form of expression in a conversation, or there's involuntary cursing, and most people do both.
Okay.
Involuntary cursing is actually not produced in the same hemisphere of the brain as voluntary cursing.
So it was a neural problem when
it's not a problem
beaver
necessarily.
Jumped out at me.
Well, for sure. So interestingly, you find that some people who suffer from Tourette syndrome, that's a phenomenon that's occurring in the right hemisphere of the brain.
Okay.
And some people, they'll curse involuntarily when they have Tourette. Yeah. And your involuntary cursing will come basically from the same part of your brain as a tic. And so that's a different kettle of fish, and that's a different issue, trying to discipline that, then just don't make the decision. What is it? It's, where is this? Romans 13:11. I can't, somebody's going to correct me because, look, I'm Catholic. I outsource my Bible reading to professionals. Don't make plans to sin.
Yeah.
And okay, stuff happens, right? But don't make plans to sin. It's also very interesting when people fall off they're alcoholic and they stop drinking and then they fall off the wagon. They almost, according to the data, you've seen this too, they almost always plan to fall off the wagon. There's a plan behind
Friday
it.
after work, I'm going to
When people say, I don't know what happened, honey. I just kind of had an affair. No, you didn't. You planned it. You planned. So it's the same thing with little things. I'm not saying that cursing is like having an affair. Obviously not.
Right.
I mean, these are different in nature and magnitude. Don't plan to sin. Just don't plan to do it is what it comes down to. And that's basically the right policy it'll stand you in the best stead.